Hello and welcome. My name is Brenda if you're new here, and today is Friday, August 27th. This past week, it's been a pretty good week, considering I think it was earlier on in the week we had a tornado warning, and it was kind of close by. I guess there was one, and I don't do well with tornado warnings. I get a little freaked out, but we live in a brick house now, so I'm not, as bad about it anymore, but I don't like that when that happens. But everything was fine, and the storms rolled through, and this week I went and visited my parents and ended up working. I think I mentioned last week that, or a couple weeks ago, that I was wanting to work on some old dining room chairs that were handed down to me, and so I started sanding them down. I haven't continued with that, but I took the bottom part of the chair to my parents because my dad is an upholsterer. So went over there, and both he and I took fabric off of those. So I guess I'll show you what they look like and all that. But it's just going to be a slow process. I'm not in a rush. I need to sand all the chairs, and that's a job. And then after that, I'm planning on staining them, but we'll see. So I tried to pick out some fabric that he had, but there wasn't quite enough of the one that I really wanted. So we'll see how that works out. But while I was there, it was raining really heavy for like a short amount of time, and it started to get flooded up in the front yard, which I think has only happened one other time that we've been there, that now they've been there. So finally it stopped raining and eased off of the house, thankfully. So yeah, lots of exciting things that you don't really want to happen in a week, but it's all fine. So to the stitching, I showed you guys this one last week from Fat Quarter Shop. Their Bats and Boos SAL, their free SAL that they have. And I had planned on this week working on the frame. But when I saw someone on Instagram, I can't remember who it was asking, should I put the frame or should I not put the frame? And then the next picture was someone that had already done the frame. And then I was looking at it, and I think it looks good, especially they showed on Fat Quarter Shop finishing it into a pillow and all, and I think it looked good. But I just think I like it better, for me, without the frame. So I did try to make my own frame, and I kind of messed around with doing that, and I think I couldn't really figure out what I was liking, so I just think I'm going to leave it as is, and this is what I'm going to stick with and just finish it. I don't know if I'm going to make it into like a little pillow or an ornament. It's a little bit big, but I think it would work. Or if I change my mind and decide to put the border. But I think I will keep it like this, and you'll see it again one day if I ever get around to actually fully finishing anything. But that's okay. So I'm going to call this a finish for now, and I think that's how it's going to stay, because I do like it the way it is. So yeah. And then I worked on my stitching shelf from Heaven and Earth Designs. I usually don't have it in my hand because I usually stitch on my scroll frame, so it's kind of a hassle for me to show such a big thing. But I think because I'm getting further over in the pattern that it's kind of become annoying to maneuver. I have a magnifying light, but it's not on the floor. It's connected to the table that is in front of me, and it's not reaching over enough. So until I get either a different place to put the lamp or a new lamp, I'm going to stitch in a Q-snap. So I will show you where I was at last time. And let's see, I got 259 stitches in this week on this. It's continuing to be still a lot of I almost said popcorn again. And before I started, I'm like, okay, say it right. Confetti. Okay, it's confetti stitching. Confetti stitches in. So here is where I'm at. A lot of those stitches were in the little bottle, but also some in the title area here. So that's where I am now. I think that really heavy confetti area is slowing me down a bit and also making me not want to stitch on it as much. I pushed through and made myself get in what I did, but I think it will be a little bit better once this bottle is done. So that it does look really pretty. So that I probably won't be stitched on a lot anyway, like I said before, because of all the SALs that I'm gonna have going on. And speaking of, I finished the frame on the Cryptid SAL from the Witchy Stitcher. And so this is what it now looks like. And that's what I worked on this week. Just finished that up. And when I got to the very last stitch is when I noticed that I'm off by one. So I don't know where I was off. Somewhere up here is one too wide. So I'm hoping that I can kind of fudge it, and I don't know what this is going to look like, so I'm hoping that it's something that I can make work, because I really don't want to unstitch, you know, I don't want to frog all of one side. I don't know. I'll have to see closer. If it does become a problem, I'll have to find out where the problem is and fix it. But yeah, there's only supposed to be 2 stitches right here, but there's 3 unlike the other side. And then I went and counted how wide it was, and it's 1 off. So this is my first frame, and of course I goofed. Next frame I ever do, I'm gonna count, recount before I continue the sides. But it is what it is, and I hope I can make it work. That is that. Then I have my Dogs of Disney Summer SAL from AbbleSue Designs. It's not free anymore, but I think she's gonna put it on. I need to check so I can say for sure. But I would think she would put it for sale, but maybe not. The Disney Cats of Autumn that she has is on sale, or for sale, on her Etsy shop. But this one is done, so I got, I'm trying to find it in my notes where it's at. I got 526 stitches in, and the back stitch too. And I got my favorite Disney dog. I got 0 all done. Yeah, when we first started this SAL, she had a giveaway with a bag maker, and the question was, you know, who's your favorite Disney dog? And I totally forgot about 0, even though he is my favorite. And but then when we started stitching, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Zero is my favorite dog. But so that's one more dog done. It's coming along. The next one is Slinky Dog, and his ears are a little bit shorter than I want it to be, so I'm going to try and alter it and make his ears longer, so he's probably going to take a little bit longer to play around with, but that is my plan. And the next thing I worked on was, since I didn't end up stitching the Bats and Boos SAL, I decided to work on my Mickey Halloween Castle. That's just the name I'm giving it, from OhMyStitchesShop on Etsy. So I finished one more color, and I got 1,467 stitches in, and it was going faster because it's just one color I was working with in a big area. So this is where I'm at. I just have one color left to go, which will be kind of this darker orange is going to be all in here. So that's what I'll work on next, if I get to work on this at all this week. So I'm liking how it's looking, and I'm excited to get this done, and hopefully that will be this week. I don't know, it's a lot of stitches and I don't know, I have other things to work on, so we'll see. And the last thing that I have is the Oracle SAL it's on Facebook. It's a free SAL, and the group is called Oracle SAL, and this one is the Halloween one. So I got 814 stitches in on this one this week, and that has me up to here. I wanted to finish around this pumpkin, but I moved on to other things, so maybe this week we'll continue on that and see how that goes. But I'm liking how it's looking with the colors that I chose. I'm trying to, let me get closer here. There we go. I was having a time trying to figure out how I wanted this to look, which colors to put where, but I think it looks good the way I decided. So yeah, I'm still really liking stitching on this linen. So yeah, I haven't quite finished part 2 of this, so I'm still behind by like 2.5 parts. But that's all of my stitching. I don't have any thing that I've bought this week, but when I went to my parents', my mom was doing some organizing, and she said that I could have some fabric. She had like fabric all over her table that she was putting away and making a little more orderly. But she said I could have some if I wanted, because she wouldn't be able to use all of it. So I picked some stuff out that I thought would be good for finishing things whenever I do get to doing that. So this is just part of the fabric, but I picked some things that I thought would be good. So one day when I get to doing that, I will use some of that fabric. So that's all I have as far as crafts and stitching and all that. So I just talk about a little bit of what I watched this week. Last night, my husband and I, we watched The Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf, I think is what it's called. And I did like it, but I think it would have done better to be like just a season of a show. I felt like stuff was a little bit rushed, and things could have been delved into a lot more. And I think it was only an hour and a half movie, but I don't know, I just felt like it could have used more time. So I did like it, but it could have been better. I haven't read the books or played the game or anything, so I don't have that to go by. So my opinion is only from someone who doesn't know anything about that. So I don't know how well they stuck to any of that. From what I saw people reviewing on Internet Movie Database, I guess they didn't really do all that well, sticking to what it really was. So I think it was worth watching, though. I just feel like it could have been better. And then I watched American Horror Story Season 10 started. I only watched the first episode, but I think they did 2 episodes in one night, so I think probably today I'll watch the second episode. But I did like that one, and I'm excited to have that back because I really do like that show, and I just like every season seeing the actors in a different role. I thought that was cool from, the whole series. I've enjoyed seeing, like, oh, there they are. And but yeah, I think this one will be another good season. So I think that's all I've got for this week. I hope you guys are doing well and enjoying your stitching and crafting or whatever you're doing. So I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.